Welcome back to the VHS Vault. I, of course, am VHS Jace. There is Jason Roy Gaston. And I think it's fair to say, Jason, the adventure of a lifetime is about to begin.
Yes, I remember reading that somewhere. Greetings, Starfighter. Welcome to the Last Starfighter. Kind of like the Last Airbender, only in space and no bending and no cabbages. And it's nothing like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No. And unlike, hopefully like the last Airbender, it isn't the last. It isn't the last.
No. We were just talking. If there is a movie that deserves and needs a legacy sequel, it is this masterpiece of 80's amazing collision of technology and heart. That is The Last Starfighter. We need to have the next movie be like the next to The Last Starfighter, or not The Last Starfighter, or the Legend of Beta, or something. I don't know. It needs to be something.
There is so much fertile ground here, though, Jason. You can do with
fertile.
Like the first thing I noticed when I was watching, and we'll get into it as we do the full reviews, is obviously the CGI is limited, and I'm sitting back and going,
but
"Why
it looks better than Babylon 5's did 30 years later?" Yes, he said what he said, and he meant it. Cry
but
in
you
the
would
comments.
say,
cry in them.
But you would say, I'm shocked a fan has gone and upgraded them, because that's an easy
thing. Don't need it. It
doesn't. They kind of do. Maybe they don't need it for the ships, but they do need it for some of those environments.
Maybe like one or two shots are kind of like,
be fun to do it. Hey, you did it with Star Trek, the original
that's
series.
Trash. No, you know what? I wouldn't mind. It's part of this movie's novelty and charm, though. Now, I know it'll be lost on today's audience because, you know, they're like, oh, wow, that's like video game graphics. That's like PS2 cutscenes.
It's one.
But here's the thing, though. Watching this movie, I guess I saw it around 1986, whenever it started airing on the cable channels. We had never seen anything like this before. We had never seen spaceships move the way the Gunstar moved. We had never seen this. And watching it, we knew there was something off about it. And it was not quite like, wow, this is as good as Star Wars, because it certainly was not. But it was still amazing. It was like watching Tron for the first time. It was something new, amazing that we'd never seen before. And watching this today, I still get just a pang of nostalgia, just like I remember what it was like watching this for the first time.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, there's that avenue. You could upscale it. You could do a legacy sequel, like you said. You could do a reboot, and I think it would work. There is a lot of things you could do with this franchise. And I think at the core of it, why this film is so amazing, clearly we're just pouring love all over this film. It's really how grounded it is. It's a very simple plot. And it's the community. It's the environment and the world building they create. What makes it my favorite sequences this entire film, and I love the everything in space, is actually in the trailer park. I think there is absolutely gold sitting in there. And I think I messaged you, Jason, that one of the things that gave me the vibe of was a very Spielberg Emblem Entertainment 80's vibe.
Yes.
You know?
Incidentally, before you go back to that image.
Yes, certainly.
Do you see the young man in the red shirt?
Yes.
Will Wheaton. That's Will Wheaton. Wheaton! Yes, it was one of his first roles, and all of his speaking parts ended up on the cutting room floor. But you can still spot WW in the movie. Yeah. And it's always a pleasure to see WW in the movies.
It's such a magic way to open a film, because we get to know his life and his community. Reminds me of the scene of Jaws when Roy Schneider and the mayor are walking through the town early on. We just get to establish everything. So it's wonderful, you know, and it's a great way to set this movie up, and everything with it. His little brother Lewis, his girlfriend, why have I forgotten his girlfriend's name? Because I'm old.
Was it
Maggie? Of course. Mags.
Absolutely. With the tongue in the ear.
Yeah.
She's kind of a Hellcat. You never see it on screen, but apparently, Maggie's got a little bit of going on.
Yeah, we find that out later on. So it's a way, straight away, I'm getting nostalgic feelings watching this again because I'm going, oh, this is what Hollywood blockbusters at their prime were like back in then. There's this feeling, there's this comfort, the way it's shot, the way they use characters. Like, I'm right in. And yeah, like 5 minutes in, I'm smiling ear to ear. I don't know about you.
I was too. I think that the word you used is perfect because I was actually talking about this to my friend who I was watching this movie with. It is just this wonderful, warm sense of community in the trailer park, and I think that is the heart of this movie. Is that this is about a young man who is part of a community, a limited community, but still a good community, longing to join a larger community, and he gets what he wants, even though it's not quite in the way that he thinks. But this movie does not say, well, go out into space and everything's going to be better, because it's not. It's just he's leaving a comfortable, safe place to go to a more dangerous, vast world. The community he's leaving is not, it's flawed and it's small, but it is warm and it is a safe place. You can understand why Mags doesn't want to leave.
Yeah,
I completely get it. I kind of wanted to live there, and I lived in a trailer whenever I was younger. It was not great, but if I lived in Starlight Starbright, I'd be fine because I'd be hanging out with Granny and Elvira and Otis, and they could watch me play video games, and I don't know, Centauri could show up. Young man, I have a proposition for you. Keep walking. Keep walking.
Keep going.
Get out of here.
I think what a great way for you to attach yourself to the protagonist, though. To have a guy who's not going for selfish reasons. He loves where he is. He's conflicted. He wants more, but he's out there helping the community. So straight away, you're rooting for Lance Guest in this film, who, mind you, is his greatest role, because we'll forget about Jaws the Revenge. We'll just wipe that from our memories. This is your
Jaws
role of life.
What?
Jaws the Revenge, Jaws 4.
The what?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, no, look,
How does a shark get revenge?
Yeah, who knows? I think it's his brother or sister that comes at.
The shark has a brother or sister?
Yeah, I can't remember.
You
all I know is Michael Caine.
This movie does not exist. Next thing you
Either
tell
way,
me, he's going to be grabbing a Rasta man off of a boat or something. It's going to be the saddest part in the movie. Oh, I have an idea.
Wanted to play
let's
this
go
game,
study
right?
snails. Yeah.
You wanted to play this game, right?
Oh, absolutely, I wanted.
There was not. I must admit, for months after seeing the movie, I would go into the arcade just hoping.
Is it
they would manufacture one
here? Centauri, I'm ready.
Oh, absolutely.
Centauri has come to congratulate you. You scored the lowest score ever, which is amazing considering it starts at 0 and you get 100 points just for launching. What did you score?
The Zer turn up and just execute in the back of the head. But
could you imagine this movie? Could you imagine
on.
this movie in the 90s? It's like, Centauri thought he would be a great starfighter, but he blew up immediately. What is a game genie? I don't understand.
Yeah, we have a few years before the Wizard, thank God, who decides to.
That's it. Hey, I got it. Legacy sequel. The Wizard plays the Last Starfighter. Congratulations. Now you got a 2 for sequel.
It works. You can do that. You can do that. Cross-pollinate. I can feel the Hollywood moguls just counting the cash. So,
absolutely.
Very simple plot.
Even if this was just a straight-to-streaming movie, it does not have to be a huge $100 billion blockbuster.
Nah, you can do this for 30. You could do this for 20 or 30 million easy.
Yeah. The next Starfighter on Amazon. Amazon, call me. I'll write this thing. I think they've already written. They're just waiting for somebody to greenlight it.
It's again another film from the 80s where it did okay at the box office. It cost 15 million back then. I would assume most of that was on the CGI, because it was top tier technology.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But made 30. So made a small profit, but not enough, obviously, to warrant at that point the studio thinking they need to make a sequel, which clearly is a mistake. But this film's a simple plot, Jason, isn't it? And I think it's one of the gifts about this film is there's not a lot going on. I mean, it's basically a short version of Star Wars. Here's Luke. Hey, we'll take you. We'll put you. We'll cut out most of Act 1, Act 2. We'll put you straight in the Death Star, and here's the battle. And that's really, there's not a lot going on. And but I appreciate
Centauri
it a lot.
is Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Grigg is Han Solo.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the Emperor Kodan is Darth Vader.
Yep.
Oh
Bad,
my
bad
god.
Darth Vader. Look, it
Act is
is.
Leia. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
They've expanded the third act from the battle to kind of stretch it out where we get the understanding why he is the last Starfighter, because he goes home. That's when they attack the base, leaving him to the last Starfighter and start practicing shooting womp rats like he did back home on your T-19. So it was a T-19? I probably got that wrong. Star Wars nerds are going to shoot me.
Some nerd
Either
will
way.
correct us in the
Either
comments, by the way. Nerds, do it.
The simplicity of this plot is one of the reasons it works so well. There's a charm to this at every level. When Centauri gets introduced into this film, he is like he just walked off the set of The Music Man. Like he's just cheerful, like just congratulations, son. You have just won. I love the whole that it's a scam. What a brilliant idea to recruit
Robert
pilots.
Preston as Centauri. Number one, this movie has just fantastic characters in it. There's two characters who I can't decide which one is my favorite, but one of the two is Centauri because he is just a fast-talking car salesman in space. Part bounty hunter, part talent manager. And it's one of those things that just should not work, and yet it does. And it's all in his delivery. This guy comes off as simultaneously the most slimy guy you will ever meet and the most charming fellow in all the known universe. Just the fact that Robert Preston could do this with such a character that should not have. I don't know. I just kind of see Centauri as somebody that anybody else would have played as like Boba Fett. Come with me. You are the last Starfighter. And he makes the entire movie about Centauri, and that just makes him so memorable. One of the great characters.
So
I'm sure you probably know who the other great character is, but we'll see.
Yes, we'll get to them in a minute.
Later.
He's so charming. He convincingly, from my point of view, I would understand why he got into the car in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
Because stranger danger, right? But he's so charming, so warm, so kind of welcoming that, all right, I'm going to listen to what he's got to say.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought stranger danger when he was like, come and get in the car, young man. Okay.
But he's a grown boy. He can
Alex
take care
was
of himself.
never seen again.
From the community's perspective.
Indian puppies in space and starfighters. Take off your shirt, Alex. I want to take some pictures of you.
And again, this film doesn't need to do the next bit because we could have just followed them into space and that's the movie, leave the community behind. But the idea of putting in Beta as a character.
Beta was such a great character too.
Genius move because you're able to cut back to the community and have some really hilarious stuff going on.
Did you notice that in the scenes involving Beta, Lance Guest was wearing a wig?
Yes.
Because
I noticed that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So Lance Guest was preparing for his next role, which required a short haircut. Alex had kind of the shaggy 80's hair.
Yeah.
They called him back and said, hey, listen, the Beta scenes are so funny. We want to add more. And he's like, well, I cut my hair. That's okay. We'll put you in a wig. So the scene in the back of the pickup truck, for example, where, you have to laugh. And he just goes, ha, 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 ha. He just starts laughing uncontrollably. He's wearing a wig. Now, normally you would think, oh, that must be terrible. I bet that was horrible. But it works because Beta is a copy. And so the fact that there's something off about him is fantastic. And it's one of those accidental things that should not have worked, but it did, which only demonstrates that the film gods were looking down at The Last Starfighter thinking, this is a masterpiece. More people should watch it.
Now, Actually, let's have a look at Beta. When we have a look at this again, like Spielberg films, like Goonies, like Gremlins, and all that. There's always a couple of little creepy, scary bits to scare the 10-year-old, and the first shot of Beta is pretty.
Oh my God!
Is that not like?
Warn me before you do that.
Sorry, but that's the kind of reaction that shot gets. I just love
Like
that
my
kind of
ex
little
without
moment.
makeup on.
Yeah. But not only Beta is a brilliant movie where they discovered, oh, look, we've got an excuse now why he can go to space and do his thing and no one's going to know. But they were smart enough, like you just explained, to go, no, there's a lot to mine here with that.
I have a bit. Hold on. You must find the belt around Orion. Hurry, hurry. He does. He looks like the dude. He looks like the little dude from Men in Black.
It does a bit. It does a bit inside the head.
Mommy, I don't understand why I got an F in sculpting. What's wrong with it? Oh my God, honey, put it away. For only $45, you could feed a starving child. Oh God, now I've really crossed the line. And I'm gonna
I'm gonna have to delete that image off this thing. Crossing the line. They've crossed the line.
We mean no harm to your planet. We mean no harm to your planet. Should have never put it there. It's your fault.
Yes. All right. I had a great segue then too, because I said something about going into space, which was a great segue.
I ruined it all. That's
you
what
did
I
ruin
do.
it.
I
and
ruined it. I ruined it.
The CGI. We kind of just actually talked about it, but 1984. All right, 1984. Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. The Gunstar, for being 1984, looks extraordinary.
It does.
For being a 1984 CGI creation, a scant 2 years after the low-res polygons of Tron wowed audiences. This ship, I'm going to pull it up again because I'm going to take control. This ship, whenever it's standing still or just drifting, looks just as good as special effects today.
Look at that light work going off the
look at that.
Yeah, going off the side of the ship. Like
you can even see the pilots sitting inside.
Pretty damn impressive.
Now, there were some things they couldn't do back then very well, like, engine thrust or explosions, and that kind of kills the illusion a little bit. Yeah. But I'm going to say it again. The Gunstar looks just as good as any spaceship today. And I want a model of this thing. I've always wanted a model of the Gunstar.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. Forget about the CGI. The design and function of the ship, I love.
It is so pretty.
I love so much because I love the fact that he's at the front with the guns. You got the navigator at the back who's flying the ship. The way the ship could move and that, I thought, wow, they put a lot of thought into this because it's an epic ship. And yes, why I don't have a model of it, I don't know either.
Yeah, I was looking to see if you had a picture of the inside of the cockpit. I don't think you do, but that's okay.
No, I don't.
I was looking, whenever I look at the cockpit, I was thinking like a 1980s minivan because it has those it has that tan trim and everything. And I was just thinking it looks almost like a luxury vehicle on the inside. But it's very utilitarian as well. This is such a beautiful ship. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and it has clear function to it. Like it makes sense, like for what he's trying to do. So excellent. But Lance Guest had a really hard role here because he had to play confused, shocked, scared, kind of whimsy at the same time, as he's starting to figure out what's really going on here. And I thought Lance did an exceptional job because some of the times I was laughing was just his interactions with, just some of his interactions with everyone, which, I just thought he wasn't screaming, but I think he was just shell-shocked of what the hell was going on.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he just kind of wanders around hoping that he wakes up. I also want to say, because I just saw the image of it here, but there's another spaceship here that I just absolutely love, and that is Centauri's Star Car.
Yes.
I was obsessed with the Star Car whenever I was younger. I wanted my own Star Car. Even if it didn't fly, I just wanted one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Whoever, actually, I bet you it's a big name in special effects who was behind some of this because I haven't researched it just because of the quality that we've got. But this film doesn't slow down at all, does it? Because before you know
No, it
it,
certainly doesn't.
he's been recruited, figured out, I've now been recruited, and here we
You've
go,
been
kind of thing.
recruited into the Star League to fight the
Take me
evil
home.
Emperor Zurg or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And it's delightful. It's absolutely. And this film, 95 minutes or something like that, 101 minutes, feels like it went for an hour.
It
just
did, because
moves
you
and
just
moves
you
and
get
moves.
so you just get so wrapped up in this plot.
But let's introduce them. Probably your favorite character of the movie and my favorite character of the movie.
Yes.
There he is.
Grigg. I love this guy. He is
Amazing.
he's just so fun. He is just
Makeup
so fun.
is
So
excellent.
Grigg played by Dan O'Hurley. And just a fantastic character. Number one, Dan O'Hurley just acts his butt off through the makeup. And you wouldn't think that he would be able to do it, but he does, and he does it well. Dan O'Hurley, by the way, known as he's known from RoboCop 2, I think.
Yes.
Halloween 3.
Mm-hmm.
He was in that one. He was also in Battlestar Galactica, the original series.
He'd been around. He had a long career.
Yeah, this dude's been around the block, and you can tell because he just effortlessly brings Grigg to life as the most jovial.
Yeah,
I use this word a lot, but charming alien you will ever meet. And
he was 64 when he did that role.
Yeah, he was what?
64 years old when he did the role.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So youthful, wasn't he? So energetic.
Yeah, he was just. I would have thought he was at least in his 30s, but wow, that's something.
Yeah, he passed away. At age 85 in 2005.
Too young. Ask me.
But he is the glue, right? Because if you don't like that character, you don't care what those guys are up to.
Yeah, if you don't like that character, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, and he's the morality
Grigg.
of the situation, isn't he? He helps Lance understand that, we're good people. I mean, he's the good in it,
He is probably the most relatable alien that we've ever been introduced to since at least, I would say, Star Trek. And Star Trek had 3 seasons to introduce us and make us love a character. We love Grigg after 5 minutes.
How good is he? Even right at the end when he's meeting the community.
Oh, he's
so charming.
Cute.
He's warm. He's friendly. He's just like, I want to hang out with that dude.
Yeah. How do you do?
It's very well
Monster,
done.
really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the part.
Weakness of this film. Oh, we're gonna get to that in a sec. Go on.
Oh, I was just saying. I love the part whenever he's showing Alex his family photos. It's just something that people who just met each other would do. It's like, this is my wife. This is my child. And interesting fact, Dan O'Hurley also played his wife in those pictures.
Yes, I know. That's a hilarious moment. When you see it, you go, that's him. With the
that's just the same dude in makeup. It's fine. He couldn't afford 2 Grigg masks.
Yeah. If I ever think one weakness in this film, and it's really hard to say it, but I think maybe the villains weren't threatening enough. They could have amped it up a little bit more, maybe another 10%. And I wasn't a fan of their look.
Really?
Yeah, that would be my only criticism.
I thought they were rad, especially the one guy with the little zzz. I love that.
No, sorry, I meant the ones who are behind it all. Ones with the white puffy bald thing.
Oh, we're not talking about the bad guys?
We are, but they're bad guys. They're the ones who got manipulated by
Are we talking about Zur?
No, it was Zur. Sorry, Zur.
Rhymes with Sewer.
Not a fan of Zur.
That guy could show up in the Legacy sequel.
Well, I've got the female version. Yeah. Not exactly super threatening to me. No, the other guys, pretty great. Yeah, with his little red, what's the name? Once they figure it out, then they become threatening, believe it or not. Once Zur's out of the picture, it actually goes, right, well, now we're going to kill him. Yeah. And it actually goes up a...
That one dude
those guys...
that one dude with the little... That dude.
Yeah, he was cool.
He has the coolest death line ever. Just, what do we do?
What do we do?
We die. That there was like 3 seconds where they were just staring at each other before they hit that moon, just kind of going, "You are such a jackass." Oh wait, there was an escape. There was an escape button right here. Boom.
Just like Top Gun, this film does something very smart. Is that's to give us the target. We understand what the target is, like the hole in the Death Star. We understand what Top Gun fighters, what they need to bomb at the end of the movie. We know it's all about a turret under the mothership.
Yes.
That is what you've got to. And I also thought that was very smart because it was reinforced constantly in it. So when the moment does come in this film, it's really exciting. You cheer for it. It's really great. So, and I love the fact that, mate, the film is before you're in, you're out. And normally that's a problem, but here it's just like perfect. We're in, we've told the story, we're in and out, story done.
Yeah, it never gets old. It never gets old. Speaking of Zur, a famous comedian was offered the role of Zur and turned it down.
Who?
Who do you think that comedian was? It was Robin Williams. Could you imagine Robin Williams as Zur?
Yeah.
No, he would have. He would have elevated that role. All respect to the actor who played Zur. I haven't looked him up, but all respect to that actor. Robin Williams would have just killed it as that character.
You know what? It would be great. I don't think we ever got to see. We got to see 1 hour photo and Death to Smoochie, but him playing an outrageous villain.
Oh yeah, that would have been so much fun.
Yeah. But we haven't talked about the most obvious thing. Who directed this film? Do you know who directed this film? None other than Mike Myers. Correct. Director Nick Castle, who's also known for playing Michael Myers in the original John Carpenter's Halloween. He also had to come out in 2018. He also co-wrote Escape from New York. Is actually the director of this film. So it's being directed by a homicidal maniac. And I'll tell you what, Mike Myers, you missed your calling, mate. You should have just kept directing.
Hey, there's actually a connection to another famous monster movie person here. And I think you've got the picture here. If this is not the picture, it's because my eyes suck. But we have the Zandozan.
Yes, I love that. Look at that great alien work.
I'm glad you said that's great alien work because that is where I'm headed to right now. The Zandozan was actually a rejected design from Alien.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's almost what our alien looked like. Still terrifying.
Still terrifying. And music.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was the Zandozan before it got all alien-y, was that Mark Alamo from Deep Space Nine?
I don't know. You'd have to double check. I didn't really. If it's Gul Dukat, I'm going to lose my mind. But it would definitely make sense because in that time, he was working non-stop. He was in a lot of those Golan Globus kind of canon movies and stuff like that. So it makes sense to me. But let's the director. Can I keep going on the director? Because he's a fascinating guy. He also, in his film credits, he played the beach ball alien from the film Dark Star. If you remember John Carpenter's first student film.
Yeah.
But he went on to be a director who made kid-centric films. So do you remember a movie called The Boy Who Could Fly?
I do, with Underwood. I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, something Underwood. He ended up playing in that Corman version of Fantastic Four. He played Johnny Storm. But he also directed Dennis the Menace and a kid's film that I get a cheap laugh out of, Major Payne. With one of the Wayne brothers.
I love Major Payne.
Yeah, I think that's a delightful, funny film. So he's very competent.
I'm going to stick my foot up your end. I laugh at that all the time.
It's he made a great film. Nick Castle, mate. I tip my hat to you because you made something. I don't think there would have been a lot of expectation around this film. And the studios must have been just so thrilled when they started seeing the first cut of this film. Knowing they had what they had.
Great.
Because here's the thing. They could have made a film that needed to live and die on the CGI. But it didn't matter with this film. All that was like like an amazing dessert that we got with a great meal. So it only enhances it.
This just in. Yep. Mark Alamo as the hitchhiker.
Ah!
It was him. Gul Dukat was in The Last Starfighter. Congratulations. Now the Legacy sequel can also be a sequel to Deep Space Nine. There we go.
He was plodding away. But yeah.
He was.
That's fantastic. And it is full of little nuggets, you know. You know what the other thing I love about this film too is like,
so much.
I don't think they're even self-aware the classic they're making. It's a time in cinema where they're just trying to make an entertaining film. And they don't realize they're making one of the great, well, they call it a space opera here in the information I'm reading. I don't agree. I just think it's a fun sci-fi fantasy film, you know, science fiction film.
I agree.
But it's one of the classics. And I think you've said, Jason, it's not heralded enough, I think, as a film. Yeah.
No, I said something the other day about how I just watched The Last Starfighter and it was as good as I remember. And half the people I talked to was like, what's The Last Starfighter? And I just was so offended and hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I'm shocked that people don't know what it is because it was relevant enough. It was out. It was one of those things that you would rent constantly from the video store or watch on cable. So, yeah, crazy stuff. But just delightful. We haven't really given enough love to the co-lead here. Where is she? I don't have her picture up. Always the way. You always find one missing. Let me see if I can find her. She's a wonderful actress. And obviously I'm talking about the great Catherine Mary Stewart.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Who, like, has been in a few things. She was in Weekend at Bernie's, if you remember from Weekend at Bernie's.
Lots of people were in Weekend at Bernie's. I don't
understand Night of the Comet.
So many people. Oh, I love Night of the Comet.
Yep, she's in that
one
as
we'll
well.
have to look at one of these days.
Yeah, absolutely. But I thought she was great in this. I thought she did really well. She was very sweet, very kind of frustrated. I mean, I do love that bit when they're making out and the campfire before he gets exposed as being Beta. So now, do I stick my tongue in your ear? What do you say? I'm not used to these. What do you call saliva games?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was hilarious.
I just love how easily Beta gives up. It's like, hey, I'm not really Alex. I'm a Beta unit. What? Yeah. And if he had not been shot at that very moment, that would have been the end of their relationship right there.
Oh, yeah, because he's just coming off like the weirdo, which, again, is hilarious, you know, because he's really trying. This is what they do with Beta. They give Beta his own personality, and you get to understand that Beta is struggling with the performance that he has to do. And it's just those little touches, and I think just absolutely wonderful, you know.
It's fantastic.
Rousing finish to it. Great classic old Hollywood cinema finish. We beat the bad guys. He gets to come home. We get an E.T. moment at the end of this with him going, and will he or won't, you know, that kind of thing. It's just beautiful.
There's a shot at the end whenever they're taking off and Lewis gets on the game and starts playing it. And it's done in this fantastic silhouette. And I told the person I was watching the movie with, they do not shoot movies like this anymore. And it just looks so good. And I just don't get it. I don't get why movies just can't look this beautiful anymore.
No, and it is frustrating because I keep going back to coining Spielberg and Amblin, but there was a look and texture to those films. Like The Goonies looks amazing. You know, Gremlins looks amazing. There's something about it, almost a hyper-realism that is very relatable. It's unbelievable. But this film, I don't know how much more we have been filleting this movie for the last 35 minutes.
Great
I don't
word
know
choice.
how much more I can do. It is amazing. It's held up beyond expectations. Man, I want this film to have a future. I want this franchise to have a future. And I really don't care how they do it at this point. Just give me more about the Zodan, you know, about all that, the Armada. I want I want it all. I'm in.
I want to know what happened to Alex and Mags. I want to know, were they successful in bringing back the Star League? Did they defeat? I keep wanting to call him Emperor
Yeah,
Zurg, but that's Toy
yeah,
Story. Did they defeat the bad guy, or is the bad guy
yeah.
still out there?
That's
I don't.
it.
I'm
Maybe
dropping.
he's been hunting him all this time.
Perhaps.
It could be. There's a lot to do. I'm good with going back to an old man version of him, of Alex.
Yeah.
And you know, he's been a war. He's been fighting this war for the last 40 years. I'd be down with that. With a new kid being recruited, you know, I'd watch anything they did with this franchise. And I am stunned. There must be legal issues involved. I am stunned that no one has said, "Hey, here's something we can." Because 80s nostalgia has been a thing now for about 20 years. So I'm shocked. This hasn't ever made it into production.
Well, in 2009, it was announced that a sequel called Starfighter was going to go into production. Obviously, something it didn't. This movie would take place 25 years after the 1984 movie. Norman Snow was going to return as Zur. This would have followed a grown-up Lewis, who is brought to Rylos to become a starfighter. Either that, another rumor is that it involved Alex and Maggie's Rylos-born son or daughter, who goes out
Okay.
to settle a score with Zor when Alex is killed during a Kodan Armada attack. So I don't know. I like the whole idea of Lewis going up and being introduced to that world, but I don't know. I don't know. I hope one day it is continued. I don't want to see a reboot. I want to see a continuation.
Yeah.
I want to see what happened next.
Yeah. No, I would too. I'd just like anything with it. So,
Yeah.
you know, part of me, I remember saying to my wife afterwards, I said, is this a Gen X thing? Is I'm just, you know, drunk on the memory berries? Or is this a genuinely good film? And she just went, no, this is a good film. This is just a great film.
Fantastic film, and I love
I think you could show, it's one of those rare ones you can actually show from your childhood and go, okay, let me explain the
Yeah.
CGI side of it. But beyond that, this is highly as even more entertaining than a lot of stuff we're getting today.
Oh yeah, and it holds up, and it's one of those precious movies from your childhood that is just as good, if not better, than you remember it. Because now I'm starting to get the jokes I didn't get back whenever I was a kid, and
Mm.
it is surprisingly family friendly too. They
It
they
is surprisingly
they
friendly.
don't really curse a whole lot. I think the worst thing is whenever Lewis pulls out his Playboys, and he doesn't show anything. It's just a kid looking at Playboys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little, but it's probably for today's standards maybe something that probably wouldn't fly very well, but
Yeah.
overall there's I don't really think they even curse in this movie a whole lot. They might have said the
I
S word
don't
once. I
I
think that was
don't
about
even
it.
think they do that, you know.
Yeah. I know whenever
It's
he's taken off in the star car, Alex kind of goes, "Oh shit," and it cuts
yeah,
away.
they cut it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a PG movie, so I mean it's
Yeah, it's a very easy family film to put on. And
absolutely.
if you are looking for something that you don't know what to watch with your young kids or whatever, throw this on. You're gonna have a great time. Pretty sure that the kids will have a great time.
And if they don't, who cares? You're watching a good movie.
Yeah, that's right. 100%. Well, to keep the positivity going on the VHS channel, to keep it upbeat and live and all that kind of thing, we're about to embark on our next series of films,
Oh,
Jason.
yes, speaking of family friendly, this is something that you and the children can enjoy all together.
Here we go. Yes, we're doing
Yay!
the Evil Dead, and not just that film, the entire Evil Dead universe,
That's right.
all the way up to Evil Dead Rise.
We're done with Freddy and Jason, so now we're moving on to
Yesterday's news.
Deadites, which some people say
Hmm?
Jason Voorhees is a Deadite. So we're
There
still
you go.
keeping it. We're keeping it.
Keeping it all connected. All connected. This film, all I will say about this film is before I was into horror films as a kid, this had I knew about it and was terrified just at the name of it. I would see the ads in the magazine at age 5 and how old I was. But I do remember having a lot of even when I was into horror films, being afraid to watch this because I didn't know if I could handle it.
I actually did not watch this movie until I was in college. And that's because I watched Army of Darkness without knowing that it was a
Mm.
sequel to anything.
Yeah.
And whenever I watched it, somebody said, "Oh yeah, this is a sequel to The Evil Dead." I was like,
Huh.
I've never seen those movies before. So I went
Yeah.
back and watched them, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a torrid love affair ever since.
It's hard to say that Army of Darkness is a sequel to The Evil Dead. It's definitely a sequel to Evil Dead 2.
Oh, most definitely. But of course, we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
We'll get to all that. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are really excited about it. Now, of course, this was another recommendation, was it not, Jason?
Yes, it was. Was this James or was this somebody
I
else?
think it's James, our good friend James, again, because I think he put up a comment during the week how excited he was at the prospect of this. And so, again, we'd like to thank him. And why is he getting preferential treatment?
Well,
It's
that is because he's a Patreon. We love our Patreons. And if you want to be a Patreon and get love from somebody for once in your miserable life, please join our Patreon. The link is in the video description below. You can become a Patreon for less, well, not less than, for exactly $5 a month, which is...
you couldn't get a Happy Meal for that these days, could you?
Yeah, you could do the effects of the Last Starfighter for $5 on your home computer.
I don't know, man. I don't think I could pull them off. I think that.
Oh, I couldn't either, but I'm sure somebody out there could.
Fantastic. All right, guys. And because of Patreon, what do you get to do? One of the great things you get to do, as Jason said, is you get to pick what's coming up. So we're definitely looking for suggestions, aren't we?
Yes, because we're really getting tired of James. Sorry, James, but it's always you.
Keep recommending and staying in Patreon, please. But yeah.
It'd be nice to have
you,
James. We love you, James. We love you, John. We love you, Bradley.
So yeah, put them out there, guys. And thanks
you, Tony.
again for watching. And we'll see you next time on the VHS Vault. And as we go hang out with some Deadites.
We'll eat your soul.
Oh man,
that was my impression of David Zaslav.
That's some people hate eye violence in films. Anything to do with eyes, they freak out. Mine is the pencil in the ankle in that film.
Yeah, anything with that Achilles tendon. That's why Pet Sematary always gets me.
Oh yeah, we got to do that one.